Come on. Come on, Jade. Come on. Come on. Where are you? Come on. Come on. What's up, guys? This past weekend I was at the Farm Where You Live conference, and I was listening to, I got to hear Jill from Whispering Willow Farm speak. I was late because I couldn't find what tent she was in, so I was late. But one of the things she said that really stuck out to me is about maximizing space and like what you're growing. So it got me thinking that inside of my hoop house I should really plant extra plants in between my tomatoes and peppers that I have in here. So right now I'm just adding some of the worm castings that I harvested a couple videos ago. But I started thinking, well, what would be a good plant to plant between my tomatoes and my peppers that I have in here? And I decided on bush beans, specifically beans that would like dry. And so I have some right here. I have these cow peas. These are the top pick pink. I have California black eye number 5. I have, so those are the only cow peas I have. But then I have Jacob's cattle bush bean, which is a dry bean, calypso bean, and then this Henderson lima bean. And when I was reading the back of these cow peas says they produce in higher heat, humidity, and dry conditions, and I figured that it would be perfect to plant inside of this greenhouse. The same thing with this lima bean. It says high heat, where is it? High heat yielding, large harvest. The same one, this one said, one of them said that they were drought hardy. Let's see. Maybe I left that one inside because I did have some cow peas, but they were pole beans, and I don't need any more pole things. So, what she was talking about is like planting, being able to plant like carrots or what was it, radishes, or stuff that produce quickly in between or underneath your tomatoes, like lettuce and stuff that has shade. And I didn't know how that would be for me, since my hoop house is this discoloring. So I just added some worm composting, hoping to get some nutrients. But anyway, so I didn't know, for me, I didn't know if it was going to be too hot to do like lettuces or radishes or things like that. I know it's probably too late to do certain things, but I figured since I want to plant these beans anyway, I'm like, well, maybe I'll try beans as an in-between with these plants. And so that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can, like, let me show you. So I have all of this space, this open space in between my tomatoes and peppers, and I thought it would be a good idea to plant some bush beans. So this first one that I'm going to plant is this California black-eyed pea, and I'm just going to stick some seeds, and hopefully I have enough to do this whole bed. Another reason why I chose beans in here is because it fixes nitrogen into the soil. So I thought it would be perfect to be able to feed my soil because it has tomatoes and peppers in here. While I'm in here planting, I'm just taking off suckers that I see. They grow so fast. I did this, I feel like a week ago, but they're already trying to grow again. So that one pack did that whole bed, and then I'm hoping this whole pack, which is the top pick pink eye, does this whole bed. I didn't push them in yet because I didn't want to go back and be like, oh man, where did I plant stuff? So I'm gonna go back and end up pushing them in and have to trellis them. There is actually tomatoes already. I have like one tomato that's already sizing up. I'm just looking around. Yeah. So this third bed, I did the Jacob's Cattle and the Calypso. So there's 25 seeds in each. But in this last bed, I only have this last packet, which is the Henderson Lima bean. And it only has 25 seeds, so it's not going to fill out this whole bed. But I have 5 peppers here that I never planted. I didn't plant them in the ground because I was thinking about planting them outdoors. And you can see that they're much smaller than all the other plants that I planted in here because they've had more room to grow and more opportunity. But I'm just going to go ahead and get them planted in inside this last raised bed, and then in the in-between spaces I'll add in the beans. I was also thinking another thing that I could do is use my, what are those peppers called? I mean, what are they called? The painted pony bush beans, because those are supposed to be a really good green bush bean, or you can dry them. And in here I want to do all dry beans specifically because usually I have a hard time getting dry beans, because once they're trying to dry on the vines, then water, humidity, it always turns like moldy. And so I always have a hard time when I've tried to grow dried beans before in the past. And so I'm hoping that with them in the greenhouse, since these are all specifically dry beans, I can leave them in here for the whole season. And you know, they'll be able to dry and not get moldy and all the things. So let me plant these. I'm gonna get these last 2. This is California Wonder Peppers. So it's just a regular bell pepper. I have about 15 more minutes. So I'm going to use, someone sent me this tomato twine last year and I didn't get to use it. So I'm using it this year. Thank you, whoever sent it. I don't remember. I'm going to use it to tie up my tomato plant, specifically this first one, because it's leaning over because it's really, really heavy. So I want to hurry up and get it. I think this is the last thing I'm going to have time to do. My girls did. I watered the bed before I actually pushed in the beans, and my girls helped me do that. So I watered the bed, and then they pushed in the beans, and then I went back over the bed and watered it again. I'm going to go ahead. This is another thing that I learned from Jill. I wasn't sure. I knew that I was going to tie my tomatoes up from the top of the cattle panel, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it at the bottom. And so what she explained in her talk was about tying it and doing like putting a loop through the top. I'll show you how, and then come back down, do a little tie, use a pin it into like a landscape staple, and landscape stapling it into the bed, and using the little clips that I used in my garden to clip it to the tomato twine. So that's what I'm gonna do. So you can see I just hooped it through there, and then down here I'm going to tie it. So I have a little knot here. I'm gonna find a landscape staple somewhere. So I have the landscape staple, and I'm gonna push it down in there. So now that's in there, I'm going to take this. This is a 2-liter, let me bring you up closer. So this is actually a 2-liter plant because I let this sucker grow. So I would need to do it for each one. So I would need to do a second one for the second liter right here. But for now, because I have to go, I'm just hooking it on this first one. Because eventually I will have to come in and tie up all of my tomatoes. But I definitely want to tie up this one because it was the one leaning. All of the rest of them are standing up straight. So like I said, I'll come in and then you do a second hoop for the next one. And you can see I have all of these blooms already. So I hope that made sense. There you go right there. So now that's holding that up, and I'll do another one for the second liter, and then you can see the rest of them. The next tallest one I guess would be this one, but it's standing up pretty straight. Right now it's still a single liter, but I am going to let it double off, like this one doubled off for here, and I'll do these two. But like I said, here's the tomato already. This one is actually the Grand Marshal, where this is the triple crop right here. So I have 1, 2, 3 triple crops and 4 Grand Marshals. I actually planted those tomatoes. Oh, I just saw that I actually have another Grand Marshal tomato. I thought that was the only one. I planted these tomatoes 12 weeks from my last frost day because I knew that they were going to come inside of this hoop house and that they would be fine even if the temperatures got a little bit colder than normal, because I had sunflowers in here that had survived very hard frost and it did not die in here. So I was hopeful and knew that if I planted my tomatoes in here early that they would be fine, and it's all worked out. I had my girls go ahead while I gotta go, but I had my girls while I was in here working on this plant. They're playing with water. Use the worm composting, what is it called? Worm castings. And they put worm castings around all of these tomatoes. These tomatoes and these Forever Garden beds are my dwarf tomatoes. I have them in 3 beds. So this red bed, this pink one, and this purple one. And then this is the worm castings that are left over. I did save 1 5-gallon bag of worm castings so that I can make a tea. I'm going to probably put it in one of my what's it called, like cheesecloths or something, and put some compost in it and then make compost tea that way, so that I can so then I can water my garden with my sprayer. I'm gonna do a foliar spray because I follow Natalie from Hey It's a Good Life, and at HOA I did a video where she made compost tea with worm castings and said that it feeds her garden as a foliar feed, and that's how, like, it's like the plant's skin, like how we have skin, and when we like put stuff on it, like it quickly absorbs into our skin, so that when you feed the plants a foliar feed of worm casting tea, that it's quickly absorbed better than if you put it in the ground. And so I have not tried specifically a worm casting foliar feed. I did last year try, I didn't video it, but I tried a foliar feed of molasses and I think, was it some regular compost? I don't remember, but I mixed it together and did do a foliar feed that way. I can't tell you if it worked or not. It was supposed to like give the plants like a jolt of like high sugar content, because healthy plants, tomatoes, I mean healthy plants, they say bugs don't bother healthy plants, but if they are already stressed, then bugs will bother them. So that is what I did last year. This year, it's just I'm so happy about these tomatoes in this greenhouse. They're so big, they're so lush. I'm looking forward to getting a lot of tomatoes out of this greenhouse. And yeah, they look so healthy. These are probably the best tomatoes that I've ever had, obviously because they're staying out of the humidity, so there's no rain on them. I'm watering them. I'm hoping that the peppers do just as good, since I'm in charge of the amount of rain that they're getting and nutrients. All my peppers usually, and then I'm hoping that they'll produce faster, because all my peppers usually produce late in the season. I'm wondering, or I'm thinking, because it gets hot later in the year down south. But since they're inside of this hoop house, I'm hoping that I can like speed them up and get them warmer quicker, and then get a pepper harvest faster. So anyway, that's my little rambit. I have to go, so I will pick this up tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.